G'day and welcome back. Another chat about the regulations about drones, about the hobby, and today another airliner strike, apparently. Now, it's interesting, I got this off RT, which is the Russian news network. Is it RT? Yeah, something like that. Anyway, and there's been a couple of other news agencies reported this as well. Basically, an airliner hit a drone. Woo, where have we heard that before? It was an Aerolineas Argentina plane was struck by a drone over Tierra Santa theme park in Buenos Aires. It was a Boeing 737-800, so it's a twin engine, quite an old aircraft now in terms of original design. And it was on approach to, is it George Newbery Airport or Yorg? I don't know how, is the J pronounced as a Y or an H, or I don't know, anyway. So it was coming on final approach to the airport, and they say it hit a drone. Now, the RT report says, and I will quote, "The drone struck below the window on the commander's side of the aircraft," right? So, again, we've got, just follow me here. These reports seem to be so full of holes. What's going on? So the drone struck below the window on the pilot's side of the aircraft, right? So you would expect that if it struck on the left-hand side of the aircraft, because that's where the pilot sits, the commander sits in the left-hand seat, right? Then the drone would have put scratches and so forth on there and then, disappeared out the back. Well, there's a tweet. One of the airline things put a tweet up, and it shows pictures, and these are the pictures from the tweet. And it says with the tweet, "Aerolineas Argentinas B738 right engine hits a drone on final approach." Hang on a minute. If it hit on the left-hand side under the pilot captain's window, how did it get across to the right-hand engine? That's what I mean. There's a general rule of thumb that says incredible claims require, or extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. And at the moment, we've got two contradictory statements. I don't see how a drone could impact under the left-hand side of the cockpit and end up bouncing off the right-hand engine. I really don't know how it could do that. That's just like lunacy. So it may be a drone hit, it may not be. It looks like there's white paint in the pictures. It looks like white paint has been scraped. Well, drones don't have white paint. They have plastic, and the plastic doesn't usually leave like it will scuff, but it won't leave big white smears. It doesn't peel off. It's not like paint which will smear off the one surface onto the other. So you've got to wonder what happened there. Was it a ground accident and the pilots are covering it up? We don't know, because that's happened before. Was it actually a drone? I don't know. Was it a ball of ice? We just don't know. So all I've got some scratches and scrapes. And I think they said in the story that the plane, a similar plane or one plane like that, had come within 5 meters of a drone just a little bit, prior to that, from the days before that. 5 meters? Who the hell can see something when you're on approach and you're doing 200 or maybe 180 knots on approach, maybe 200, I don't know what the 737 does on approach. See a drone-sized object, it can tell it's 5 meters away and identify it as a drone. Really? Seriously? Come on. No, sorry. But this is good news, bad news. The good news is, once again, if it was a drone strike, nobody died, nobody was injured, the plane was only slightly scuffed, right? So all the claims that these drones are going to bring down airliners, well, again, it didn't happen. So whether or not the pilots are sort of playing a game of, well, we've tried to warn people by having all these drone sightings and no one's listening, so now we're going to pretend we've had some drone strikes. Maybe they've upped the ante a bit. Maybe the pilots are saying, oh, we need to fake some drone collisions just to get bloody flying here. We need to fake the drone collisions so that the media takes more notice and we get more headlines vilifying these evil drones that are going to take our jobs. Are they doing that? I don't know, but it doesn't sound beyond the realms of credibility to me. So, anyway, so if drone hits the airline and no one dies, another big non-news story. Maybe eventually the media will get the message. And notice again, now I've found this only on two websites, two news sites, RT and some Quebec news. I think the Quebec news is obviously following it because they had that drone strike in Quebec with that light aircraft where there was, again, no real evidence to support it. And there was no investigation following it. So, again, it plays to my theory that pilots are now raising the ante and spouting even more bullshit than they did before because the media is sort of, oh, yeah, we've heard about near misses. So now they're saying, we've had a hit. So the media gets involved. But the media isn't really covering these things very much, is it? Because it doesn't fit their story. It doesn't fit the predictions of what's going to happen when drones hit airliners. So the pilots are saying, we've been hit by a drone, and the media's going, yeah, well, no one died, we don't care. Wait till someone dies, come back to us then. So, yeah, it's good news. It's good news all round, I think, that no one died. Number one, nobody died. And number two, the media is kind of being marginalised because all their predictions of gloom and doom and death and disaster are being shown to be completely unfounded so far. Completely unfounded. Now, that's not to say that it's a good idea to fly a drone around full-size aircraft. No, none of us, nobody would say it's a good idea to fly your drone down at the local airport. No, in an uncontrolled fashion. Or at an international airport where there are big airliners coming and going. No. That's not a sensible idea. But it does show that the hysteria has been proven false. This whole hysteria about drone hits aeroplane, people die. Sorry, the reality, the facts. Now the multiple facts support the claim that most people have said, most sensible people, most drone operators have said, no, we're talking about little plastic toys bouncing off aircraft that are hardened to the effects of bird strike, ice, lightning, all manner of things. So why would the little plastic toy knock them out of the sky, every time they strike? No. So there we go. Wonderful news for the hobby. And hopefully the regulators are listening and taking note. So, yeah, that was the drone news story for today. But wait, there's some more. Let me get comfortable because I want to talk about the drone regulations in India, or the proposed drone regulations in India. Yes, the Indian regulators have come out and said, ooh, evil drones, we must stop them. And you would not believe, honestly, oh man, you thought Canada was bad. Well, India is just up the ante again. Now, we all know that flying model aircraft is an age-old hobby that has got a lot of young people into aviation, and it gets them outdoors, gets them thinking, gets them building stuff with their hands. So you think you want to promote this hobby to a young generation, don't you? Well, not in India, you don't, because the Indian regulators have said nobody under the age of 18 shall be allowed to fly a model. Honestly, seriously, that's what the proposed regulations say. No one under the age of 18 should be allowed to fly a model or a drone. Oh, come on, what are they smoking over there? It's pretty strong stuff. Did they get it from Canada? I don't know. But, because it's legalised soon in Canada, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, but back to the story. Yeah, so the Indian authorities or the regulators have said you cannot fly a drone if you're under 18. Those are the proposed regulations. But it gets even crazier. Now, let's say you've got yourself a little toy, little quadcopter, and you want to fly it in your living room on a wet day, and you're over 18, remember, you've got to call the police first. Let them know you're going to be flying this in your living room. Seriously, that's what the proposed regulations say. Before you can fly a model aircraft, you must advise the local police, even if you're flying indoors. Honestly. Now, really? Seriously? This is like the worst set of regulations I've seen. It seems that every time a regulator, like Canada, proposes some lunatic regulations, some other regulator, like India, says we can make worse regulations than that. Just watch us. And they do. They do crazy. So they're basically they're planning to ban the hobby amongst children and make it such an evil, nasty thing to do that you've got to advise the police in advance, even if you're doing it in the privacy of your own home. I'm sure you can make porno movies without advising the police, but you can't fly a toy. Oh, seriously, what's wrong with these people? So yeah, that's my little bit of a rant for today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Now, as usual, comments, tell us what you think. I'll put a link to the stories for that drone crash when it just about knocked that 737 out of the sky over Buenos Aires. So you go and have a look at those, tell me what you think. Are the pilots upping their game? Are they just increasing the level of bullshit and hype to try and get more media coverage, so to vilify drones? Or is it really, was it a real collision? We don't know, but what do you think? What do you think? And Indian regulations, what do you think of that idea of banning the hobby for children? Oh, so there you go. And remember, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. If you can't make your mind up, then you really are indecisive, aren't you? What? You're not sure? Okay. And if you're not a subscriber to this channel, then please subscribe, because if you look through the other videos on this channel, you'll find all sorts of stuff, model aircraft, more rants from me, which you can ignore if you choose to, and lots of other interesting and quite often very funny stuff. There you go. Thank you for watching this little rant and a vlog. Bye for now.